Carolina this morning as well. Asheville, we've already seen dime-size hail, and we've got that risk for storms continuing as we move through the day. And Jim, as I mentioned, it's not just today, it's into Friday as well. Oh, the monitor didn't like that, apparently. One of those ingredients is a lot of moisture. You've got a frontal boundary that's going to help to kind of trigger some of those storms as well as we head into the weekend. So you've got the humidity, you've got the heat, you've got the instability all coming together. Our risk for Friday is in this red shaded area. So you'll notice kind of one bullseye here stretching from northern Missouri up through the Great Lakes. And then you've got a secondary bullseye over the Red River Valley of the South, portions of Texas and Oklahoma getting in on that. And that's really just where we see the best ingredients all coming together. That's not to say that anywhere along this front doesn't have the risk for some stronger storms. Plenty of energy, instability available tomorrow. Now, where we are seeing kind of the strongest winds aloft, because we know the atmosphere is a column. As you go up, you have things going on a little bit differently, sometimes higher up in the column than closer to the surface. One of the things that we have going on tomorrow, the strong winds aloft, and that can lead to a higher chance of some of those damaging wind gusts within those severe thunderstorms. It can help to keep the storms going and allowing them to kind of line up and live as that frontal boundary progresses south. So here's what we're seeing. You can see the dotting of the storms filling in from Chicago down through Springfield. That 44 corridor, 49 going to be right in the line of those storms. And then you can see this filling in both across the southeast and across the Mississippi River Valley into the Ohio River Valley as we head through your Saturday. So we're not done with the storms just yet. In fact, some of us are going to have to completely plan around that for our weekend, Jim.
Yeah, you have an amazing 68.
Yeah, it becomes dangerous so quickly, and you wouldn't think of 68 as being a dangerous temperature. Well, it's feeling a little like fall in Boston today. We've got temperatures in the 50s, in fact, even 40s on the Cape, but Beantown, you're going to be baking by the weekend, like literally baking. The Red Sox hosting the Seattle Mariners for a 4-game series, and a roller coaster temperature ride starting today. So if you're me and you're in Boston, you're like, I just got to get through today. I just got to get through the rain and the lower 60s of today, and I'll finally be to the heat, because that is what's coming. If you've been waiting for a wonderful excuse to hang out by the pool, well, here's your gift from Mother Nature. 96 on your Saturday. It is going to be the perfect, I don't know, I think a lot of people think 96 is too hot to hang out by the pool, but personally, I'm like, bring the mid-90s.
Stand in the water. You're just like, okay.
Maybe. Probably 95, 96.
Yeah, I thought that would be
about like 93. I'm good. I don't, but I'm good with some beverages. Staying hydrated. That'll be the key there. Okay, so let's talk about what the key for today is, and that's going to be your rain gear across portions of the Northeast. The key, though, as we head into the weekend and as that heat comes, will be actually staying hydrated. So the temperatures across the Ohio River Valley down through even portions of the Carolinas really going to heat up. We're talking about the forecast in Raleigh for tomorrow at 98, the old record 94. The forecast in Detroit, we're even getting in it up around the Great Lakes, 90 degrees, the old record 91. Every little red dot that you see here indicative of that possibility for a record high on Saturday. So that means we're getting really close to the records there. The forecast in Philly 97, the old record 95. Here's the thing, for a lot of the records that we've been breaking with this heat across the country, we're not just kind of breaking the records, we're absolutely smashing the records by 2, 3, 4 degrees. The cooler weather. So when we typically see our average first 90 degree in, say, Boston, that wouldn't be until June 1st. So you can see we're going to certainly be a bit ahead of average on that one. Pittsburgh, June 15th. So, Jim, a lot of people are going to be like, what is going on? It was just chilly outside. Well, I mean, 62. I guess not everyone would call 62 chilly, but definitely a roller coaster. You'll head out to Lake Eola, where we have that picture showing. Yeah. Rain across places that maybe don't need it quite as much. Meanwhile, fire danger continuing, where we really could use a really good soaking. Active fires ongoing across the Four Corners region and portions of Texas. For today, our fire potential is at critical levels across southern Nevada. That's going to stretch across New Mexico, portions of Texas, all the way up into Nebraska. And when you're looking at a critical fire potential, what that means is the fires are going to start easily and spread quickly once they get started. It's basically a tinderbox across this region. region. It's been so dry. It's been very windy for many of these days, and all that does is act to dry that vegetation out more, and that means it's going to catch fire more easily. So for tomorrow, we continue with that critical fire potential across portions of Arizona, much of New Mexico. New Mexico just can't seem to get away from this pattern, Jim. It's a terrible situation out there.
We need the monsoon.
Everyone this morning, but bears don't have GPS. They don't have access to like Google Maps.
You're
so he had to climb up the pole. He was
That's a better answer.
the pole to his vantage point to find a coffee shop. I've been there.
That's got to be it.
But I have GPS. I mean, I haven't climbed up a pole to find a coffee shop, but I've been looking for one before, especially when I'm traveling. You know, we travel to a bunch of new cities all the time, and I'm like, where is the best coffee shop? If you're traveling today, you certainly could experience some delays in the red shaded areas where we do expect maybe some weather-related delays. Not a ton, but some. Boston certainly possible as you're going to have that rain. St. Louis, some storms moving through. Minneapolis, same thing for you. If you're flying into or out of Minneapolis, I bet you're going to be impacted, especially later afternoon into the evening. Now, if you are driving today, could get a little dicey. We've got some heavy rain expected, but along with that heavy rain, some dangerous storms as well. Some damaging wind gusts, some large hail. These are the type of wind gusts. We've been seeing those videos recently. Well, you know, more than recently of the tractor and trailers getting blown over by that wind. Some of the wind gusts associated with some of the storms that we see later today could get to that level of at least blowing around the high profile vehicles. We've got that risk for some flash flooding. The northern tier of the country for so long was just stuck in one storm after another, and that means that the ground is pretty saturated, and so we're going to continue with that risk for some flash flooding. For this morning, Albany, a little bit of rain around for you. Fantastic morning, though, for a place like Harrisburg. As we move into your lunch hour, that rain is still sticking around across upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire getting in on that. Meanwhile, New York, just fine for you. Boston, if you are one of those people who typically go out for lunch, I'd pack my lunch and take it with me this morning because you'll have some rain around lunchtime, a few storms in Albany this afternoon. Meanwhile, if you're sitting in Harrisburg today or Baltimore, you are having a fantastic day, Jim.
The coolest afternoon.